On a February night in 1978, a bomb exploded outside Australia's Parliament House, and the government spent decades making sure you'd never know who planted it. The blast came at 9:43 p.m. on February 9, 1978. I've read the police logs myself, they are sparse, almost evasive. A parcel bomb detonated outside Parliament House in Canberra, tearing through the front steps, scorching the sandstone facade. No one died that night, but someone wanted to send a message to the heart of Australian democracy. The question that haunted investigators for decades wasn't just who, it was why the truth got buried so deep. Let me rewind. February 1978. The Whitlam era was over. He'd been dismissed in a constitutional crisis just 3 years earlier. Malcolm Fraser was Prime Minister now. The Labour Party was in opposition, wounded, searching for its footing. Australia's political landscape was fractured. Passions ran hot. This was the backdrop when someone walked up to Parliament House with a device in their hands. The bomb was crude. Dynamite, a timing mechanism, wrapped and placed on the exterior steps. It detonated with enough force to damage the building's entrance, to terrify staff, to prove a point. But here's what struck me when I dug into the files. The investigation moved with unusual speed, and then it stopped. Completely, like someone pulled the plug. Police initially suspected left-wing activist groups. The timing seemed deliberate, a strike against the Fraser government. But as investigators dug deeper, they found something unexpected. The device showed signs of sophistication. This wasn't an amateur's work. This was someone with technical knowledge, someone with access, someone with motive that ran deeper than simple protest. By 1979, whispers began circulating in intelligence circles. The Australian Security Intelligence Organisation, ASIO, had been tracking certain political figures. Some reports suggested the bombing might have been connected to intelligence operations, to internal power struggles. I've seen declassified documents from that era. The redactions are so extensive you can barely read what's underneath. One theory that persisted: the bombing was orchestrated by someone within government circles themselves. A false flag operation designed to discredit political opponents, to justify crackdowns on dissent. It sounds far-fetched until you remember what governments have done in the name of security, until you read the history books. The investigation went cold, not abandoned, cold. Files were sealed, witnesses were interviewed, then their statements vanished from public record. The media, which had initially covered the bombing intensely, gradually lost interest. By the mid-1980s, it was almost forgotten, a footnote in Australian political history. Decades later, in the 2000s, journalists and researchers tried to reopen the case. They filed freedom of information requests. Most were denied. Some files were released with so much redacted that they were essentially blank pages. I've held those documents. The black ink marks tell their own story, a government protecting something. There were suspects, names circulated in intelligence circles, whispered in parliamentary corridors, a man with connections to the security services, a political operative with motive, but nothing stuck. No charges were ever filed. No one was ever convicted. The case remains officially unsolved. The official narrative, that it was likely a lone activist, probably deceased and therefore no longer worth pursuing. Convenient, clean, final, but it doesn't explain the speed of the cover-up, the scale of the redactions, the institutional silence that followed. What I've learned covering political violence across 3 continents is this: governments fear 2 things equally. They fear the attack itself, but they fear the truth about the attack even more, because the truth might implicate people still in power. It might expose methods they still use. It might shatter the public's faith in institutions they still rely on. In 2019, 41 years after the bombing, some documents were finally released. They confirmed what investigators had long suspected. The attack wasn't random. It wasn't the work of a lone amateur, but they still didn't name the perpetrator. The most crucial files remained sealed, locked away in government vaults, waiting for classification periods to expire. So here we are, 2024, 46 years later. The Parliament House bombing remains unsolved in the public record. But in the classified files, in the redacted documents, in the testimony of dead intelligence officers, the answer exists. It's just locked away, deemed too sensitive for citizens to know. The question isn't really whether we'll ever know who planted that bomb. The real question is, why does a democratic government work so hard to keep its citizens from knowing? What are they protecting? Who are they protecting? And what does that tell us about the institutions we trust with our safety? The Parliament House bombing is a case study in institutional silence. It shows us that unsolved doesn't mean unknown, it means hidden. And the longer a secret stays hidden, the more powerful it becomes, the more it shapes the institutions that keep it. I've covered conflicts where the fog of war makes truth impossible, but this is different. This is a democracy. The fog here isn't accidental, it's deliberate. And that's perhaps the most unsettling thing about this case, not that we don't know who did it, but that someone decided we shouldn't. The files will eventually be released. Decades from now, when everyone involved is dead, historians will piece together what happened. They'll publish papers, they'll write books, and we'll finally know, but by then it won't matter. The moment for accountability will have passed. That's how institutional silence works. It doesn't deny the truth forever. It just delays it long enough that nobody cares anymore. Subscribe, there's a new unsolved political case waiting, and the evidence is out there if you know where to look.